Kia ora everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Please Blow My Mind with me, Will Fleming. You don't normally see me at the beginning of the episode, but today's episode is slightly different. We still go deep and blow our minds together, but I'm trying something this week where we go out on the road, where we go out to the people, where we go out of our comfort zone. My guest this week, which you saw a little bit last week, is the Tongan Robin Hood. And of course he has a name, but in my mind he's a symbol, and he's a symbol that I want to share with you. It's a tricky subject that dances with the grey areas in life, something that we all dance with, the grey area, if we're honest. What we normally do is we prefer to see things as black or white. But as you know, if you follow my show, and as you probably know if you follow your heart, most things are in the middle. And the Tongan Robin Hood is someone who I think delicately dances with the middle. So he is an advocate for helping the Tongan overstayers in New Zealand. And this is a story about a man who has sacrificed a lot to serve the people. He is somebody who has to think and advocate for those who don't have potentially access like you and I do. So if you think COVID's been tough, now imagine that you don't really have anyone to turn to when life has thrown you this pandemic curveball. Turns out, if you're a Tongan overstayer, there is somebody that you can turn to, and that is the Tongan Robin Hood, who has amazing links within the business community and the community in general. So, I think I've done about enough talking. We want to get into this episode. We join the Tongan Robin Hood in the morning as he is preparing for his deliveries for the day. Everything you see that is given in this video is in fact a gift. It is not part of any, as far as I know, COVID relief fund. It is gifts from people to people. Something beautiful about that. I wish you a informative time, a good time meeting the Tongan Robin Hood, and let's get into the episode. Thank you everybody for joining me. You blow my mind. Enjoy this podcast. Kia ora everybody, welcome to Please Blow My Mind. We're straight into it because we are on location with the Tongan Robin Hood. Hey brother, how are you?
Oh, good, thanks, William. Thank you for the opportunity to follow the Tongan Robin Hood. Yeah, whawhetai in Maloapito.
People have seen you last week on the podcast, and this week we're on location with you. Can we please just start, in case people didn't see last week, with what your kaupapa is, what your mission is, what's the goal, what are we trying to do when we're out here serving the community?
Well, look, William, it's about the children, you know, especially the vulnerable overstayers, and I can't help everyone, but at least I'm trying to help to start by helping our Tongan overstayers or overstayer families, and you know a lot of them have been here for a very long time, over 10 years, 20 years, and they have children, and it's those children that really made me do this labor of love, to make sure that there is food on the table, and especially that the children do not go to sleep on an empty stomach.
And this morning we've been to Kiwi Harvest, and now we're at BBM. Can you run us through these are people and organizations that are just wanting to help, is that right?
Yes, first up, you know, it was Sir Michael Jones and the Village Community Services Trust. They came on board straight from the first lockdown. And then in about July, Dave Latella and BBM, they've also come on board to help supply food packs to the overstayers. And then recently, about 4 weeks ago, Kiwi Harvest also came on board. So those three companies or organizations, Sir Michael Jones and the Village Services Community Trust, Dave Latella and BBM, and also Kiwi Harvest, they've come on board, and I really I'm grateful for them to really go beyond their normal services to help the overstayers who are falling through the gap.
And we saw this morning just the amount of food that's being fit in the car that just drove out and inside the back of trucks. These are people coming together. What does it mean for you with every time you put a carton of eggs that you know someone's going to be fed tonight? Does it help you sleep at night?
It does. It does. William, when we all have our own struggles. Everyone struggled. With the Tongan Robin Hood, it was the biggest struggle in life was for the Tongan Robin Hood to lose his son to cancer, and hence you need something to keep going. It's very hard to cope with a loss of a child. We all expect to grow old and have our children bury us, but when you have to bury your own child, that is heartbreaking. And for me, I found charity work as the solution. That joy in knowing that there's food there for the vulnerable people, especially the overstayers. It makes you feel good. It gives you a special kind of joy that words cannot really explain.
So the Tongan Robin Hood does this every week, going around to the community and advocating. What can people do today if they wish to be part of this journey?
Yeah, firstly, William, the stigma, overstayers have been fairly untreated. And sometimes they're treated like criminals. We need to understand that they are just normal people. And let us be kind to the overstayers, because they're still part of the team of 5 million. I remember way back in the level 4 lockdowns, there were some overstayers still working out in the fields to pick fruits to keep the New Zealand food supply going. And even now we need people to pick the fruits. And I'm calling on the government or the cabinet to allow the overstayers, give them some pathways to residency. Why not give them a 3-year work visa? They can fill the gap. We need fruit pickers and workers, essential workers. Let them prove that they can be good citizens, and that will provide a pathway. And that's what we're asking government, is to provide a pathway for these overstayers, so to have a future and to come out of hiding. It is sad that they live like shadows, move from house to house. Sometimes they have to. I've known of overstayers that have called me from garages. They're living in cold garages. And I remember one radio station got a call from an overstayer family out in Pukekohe, saying that even though they're cold, but it's a warm feeling for them to know that the Tongan Robin Hood and others are standing up to fight for them. Not just making sure that there are food packs of food on the table for especially their children, but taking a petition to Wellington, and also talking to politicians and the media and trying to get the support of the mainstream New Zealanders to support this cause, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings here.
We'll pause there, eh?
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, welcome back everyone. We are back after the break and we're on location. I'm here with Vincent. Hey brother.
Hey, man, what's up?
Oh, just hanging out with you and, recording our day. Look, you said something to me while we were driving after filming the Tongan Robin Hood loading up the truck, and it was just you processing how you were feeling when we were there. Can you kind of, recount for us, just what that feeling was like for you this morning?
Absolutely. So basically in the morning, me and you were just going in there and we met the Tongan Robin Hood and it was like, oh, awesome. He's an average Joe like us. And you talk to us, you're like, hey, what's up and whatnot. But going into the actual part just felt like we were going into his encampment and meeting his merry men, They're like the actual merry men that were there and they were just doing all the activities and talking amongst each other, going, okay, what's the needs of what do we need to pack into this, put into this carriage or cart that they're pulling with their horse and whatnot. So I was actually thinking, Tongan Robin Hood was actually his real Robin Hood, and it was just awesome because how he's interacting with his merry men, and he's like, oh, you need to do this and whatnot. It was awesome, man. So just taking something that was fairy tale like and it coming into real life, and thinking of the villages as the community and giving it back is an awesome thing.
I agree, and I mean it's something that I hadn't considered would happen when we do things like recording a podcast and getting out there and doing stuff, is that like each of those trays of eggs, I realized they represent families, and there was something kind of shocking, and I haven't quite worked out how to talk about it yet, but I kept thinking the truck size was determining how many families could receive these goods. The other thing that I realized that maybe we haven't quite realized the magnitude is all of the food is donated because it's not covered by any of the COVID relief. As far as I know, it's not. And I mean, that raises the bigger picture, right? Like what we're doing today in this podcast and what Tongan Robin Hood is doing is advocating potentially for those of us who have been forgotten, right?
Exactly. When you look at the truck is not, a freighter or something as big. From a standpoint, if you think about the truck, it's like your normal household in a normal family in South Auckland. It's small, it's cramped, but within it is always the essentials, your food, your necessities to keep your family alive. So to have someone like Tongan Robin Hood and his merry men fill up that truck is like filling up a household with all the essentials that they need in order to survive.
Did you know that we were going to be doing this today?
No. No, I was like, cool, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna do some shooting, and it'll be fine. But I didn't realize when you walk in with a camera, you're looking from a different lens and watching it from an outside. I always think of looking at life through a shopping window. You always see the nice things in the window, but then if you go actually into the store, you find out even further what's out there to have a look at. So it was awesome.
And do you think, like, I wasn't aware, I mean I was aware, but it wasn't in my consciousness that there would be people like the overstayers in all of our communities that don't have the same access to things we do just because we are registered. Yeah. But this is a story that, like COVID's been hard, but imagine having the extra anxiety of not knowing who you can call when you need help. And I don't know if we've quite processed what that really means, but definitely feels meaningful.
It does. It makes me realize that, what my mother and father has provided, they were essentially nobody until they arrived to the country, and then they've been processed. And that's what I was thinking, is that everyone who's in this country, born or flew into New Zealand, they're processed into the system. But those who don't have those blessings and those connections that they know to be processed, they're still valid because they're humans. And to have people like Tongan Robin Hood and his merry men to make them feel valid, to make them feel like they're at home, makes me even more blessed to be a part of this country.
Well, Vincent, I'm happy that you get to feature on the podcast because, behind the scenes, I've been teaching you some video stuff and we're talking about podcasts and all these things, and I'm pushing you to make your own. So, look, I just know what we're going to do together over the days, months, years is go on this type of adventure. And I don't know what our role is apart from filming it, talking about it, getting stuck in and helping and kind of doing what we're doing now, processing it. I mean, I guess just finally, let's think about, our grandparents, their parents before them, our parents. Surely what we do today, how we choose to use our time, is a gift that they gave because of all of the awkwardness of the dawn raids and kind of coming to New Zealand for this bigger dream and the changing landscape of New Zealand. There's less and less for more and more.
Just thinking of it on the spot, if you think of it of this situation of, remember the movie of Coming to America? But think of it of a reverse, because he was privileged. He came from a privileged land and he worked his way downwards to where he was. He realized that, I'm privileged, but at the same time, this is how life is. You have to work your way up. My brothers and sisters who are, from a foreign land, work their way up to become something better. So learning the value of working and learning the value of compassion and love that's learned from our grandparents and our generation. We're sons and daughters of blue blood collared workers who worked in the long hours of the morning of factories, working the long hours of cleaning those floors on hospitals back in the 1970s to 80s, just to see their daughters and sons to become something better. And I just think that this generation should always remember, my father's shoes were bigger. It may be big, but it's easy to fill in.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Well, thanks for doing the random stop by on the podcast. We're going to carry on with our day. For all of those people out there watching and listening, not sure what's coming up next. We are going to go to a break, but we will continue telling these stories. So, thanks again for watching. Enjoy the break. And thank you, Vincent. We'll see you again when you pop up and emerge on the Please Blow My Mind platform. See you after the break. Beautiful, man. Okay, everybody, welcome back. I'm joined, a few days later than when we were recording. The Tongan Robin Hood carried on with his people in the cars delivering to the people. And what I did is went home and thought about what I had seen. The rest of your day, Tongan Robin Hood, what happens when we left you? We were at BBM with Dave Letele, and then you picked up some goods there. And what happened? You hit the road?
Yeah. Firstly, William, thank you once again for the opportunity to come on your podcast. That's much appreciated. And thank you, and also Vincent for coming out there to get a taste of what a Friday is like for the Tongan Robin Hood. It's my day starts at 9:15 or 9:30 a.m. and then runs right through sometimes until 9:30 at night. But yeah, when you guys left from the Dave Letele's BBM headquarters in Manukau, I had to be flexible. I had a 1 o'clock I had a 1 o'clock commitment. So the Tongan Robin Hood rushed home. Got into the to the right outfit because I'm also mourning the loss of a cousin in Tonga. So whenever we go out in public, we have to make sure that we do wear black as a mark of respect for the deceased. But even with everything that's happening, the day must go on, and So I went to a 1 o'clock appointment or meeting, and then from there came back, packed some of the foodstuffs that we picked up in the morning from Kiwi Harvest, and then hit the road. So first we delivered the food parcels from Dave Letele, and then the second load was the food parcels that we packed from the bulk supplies that we received from Kiwi Harvest, and also finish off some of the food parcels from Sir Michael Jones, and that continued to the Saturday. I couldn't finish it all on the Friday because there are some commitments on Fridays that I cannot put off. So hence I gotta be so flexible. And Saturday morning was to finish up the deliveries.
On a Friday night when you get home, I want to ask you, you must be exhausted. You sit down. What goes through your mind? Is there a sense of, we did it for another week? Or is there a sense of, there's obviously more to do? Where is your mind when you get home on those Friday evenings after serving your community for the day?
First, the sense of knowing that the putting food on the table of the vulnerable overstayers, and especially the thought that the children will not have to go to sleep on an empty stomach. There's food for them. That's the utmost thought, and again, it makes you feel good. Of course, it's a whole day, and I mean, out of the 7 days of the week, a Friday or the days that I deliver, it's probably the most draining of all the days, because as you get older, you tend to, I guess when you're young, you love driving on the road, but as you hit 50 and you go over 50, it's a bit of a drag to just drive around the whole day delivering food parcels. So it does take its toll, but again, that sense of I call it joy, huh? Because to me, joy, Joy, I sometimes use it as the acronym. J is for Jesus, O is for others, and then Y is for you. So again, there is a joy in being a follower of Jesus, and then putting the others before yourself, and yeah, it keeps me going, William, and it makes me feel good.
And I think it's really important for us to talk about that, because what you're also doing when you articulate these things is to share with people what to do in their life if you can't solve everything in one day. We live in a world now where everything has to be tied up with a ribbon and sent out. And what I personally love about seeing this journey with you and being part of it in a small way is that there's like a big goal and there's lots of small goals. And I guess the challenge for all of us is to just try to do a little bit to keep the waka moving forward. And I definitely get the sense of that. You mentioned Vincent, who was coming out with me that day. I'm teaching him a few things on camera and podcasting, and he was really taken back. I told him, we're going to see the Tongan Robin Hood, and I know you have a name, but I only use your superhero name because I do it on purpose, because I want the symbol to be as strong as it is. It's like a narrative. It's a storyline, like Robin Hood. And Vincent was talking about, how it's very accurate and the reasons and all of these extra things. And I thought it was a really nice moment for you to know that a young 25-year-old man has his issues with COVID, like we all do, for that day felt part of something bigger than himself, and that was pretty nice. So yeah. The other thing I want to ask you is, I don't remember ever reading about Robin Hood's wife, but we got to meet the Tongan Robin Hood's wife, and what does she think of everything you're doing? I mean, do you have enough energy to go home, be a good husband?
So, William, if I may go back to the level 4 lockdown in March, late March, for all of New Zealand. When I chose to go out there, with the limited money that we had, in order to buy groceries and distribute it to the overstayers. My wife was concerned for one thing. Everyone's concerned about following the rules. We're told to stay home, but then the Robin Hood is thinking about the others that are falling through the gap. So in the beginning, my wife was really concerned about my safety. However, I was concerned about the children of the overstayers. So I chose to make sure that we get food out there to the overstayers who are falling through the gap. They're not getting any support from the government agencies and the social service providers, for the fact that they're in hiding, they're scared to come out. But yeah. So a couple of months later, I invited my wife to join me, on the road. And William, that is to answer your question. The first time that my wife came out on the road with me, there was a bit of a convincing, because it's a first for her. It was a first. But then when she experienced, the we'll carry. I'll get her to also get off the car and carry. Because sometimes it's not all in one box. It's a box and another bag of vegetables, etc. So she would help me take it right to the front door of the overstairs, the places where they stay, and some would be garages, and some would be very, let's say, very cheap accommodation. And when the kids come out, it's my wife was she was I guess surprised that these kids were expecting the Tongan Robin Hood, and for my wife to experience that and to hear the joy, in those kids coming out and saying yes, my wife quickly changed her thoughts about what I was doing. She was on board from that first time coming on the road, and she's been helping me a lot. So since that first experience, when she's available, she would join me on the road. And there was a few Saturdays ago, Friday nights. I left at 9:30, and we finished. I looked at my watch when we delivered to the very last house. It was 10:30, 9:30 a.m. all the way till 10:30 at night. But look, we are passionate about it, William. And sometimes when you're passionate about doing something, your day flies. And again, with passion, look, some people work for money, but then there are a few of us who live by passion. Whether we make money or not, I'll still be doing this. I don't get paid to do this, but yet I'm passionate about it.
And there's also a lesson there about including the people you love into the passion or the movement, and that you will find a way. Because I love that everyone, when we were at BBM, Dave Latella's headquarters, everyone to everyone you were Robin Hood, but to your wife you're just Kenny, and I love that. I think that's a really nice because she's the one that sees the ups, the downs. With us, you always have to be slightly strong, but it's nice to know that even the heroes have the people with them. So I think we leave it here. That's our time for this segment, and I really am looking forward to everyone seeing this. Of course, if people want to find out a bit more about your journey or support in their own way, I mean, the arms are wide open. Where's the best place for people to follow the Tongan Robin Hood?
On Facebook, William, #Tongan Robin Hood. You can easily find me on Facebook, #Tongan Robin Hood, or send me an email, tonganrobinhood@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you for experiencing that day with us. Hopefully, it shares with you the real story of what's happening in our communities. We will bring you the Tongan Robin Hood some more. Obviously, I'm interested with Tongan Robin Hood's blessing to talk a little bit more about the person behind the superhero. So we've got some more things planned, but we're going to cover some really honest things like the mental health aspect of making sure when you serve that it doesn't come without a cost, and also just the bravery of what it takes every day to get up and do something that you believe in. So thank you again, my friend, and thank you to the audience who's watching, and we'll see everyone next week.